welcome to Summer Stories, the time that we just take to hear some stories from different people in our congregation, hear their testimonies, how God is working in their life. And today we have Dorian with us. He is our new resident pastor. As we're filming this, he's been here for about a month. Please introduce yourself. Tell us about your home life growing up, where you grew up, all that good stuff.
Name's Dorian Cushingberry. Born and raised in Indianapolis, Indiana. I'm the oldest of 15, which means I have 14 younger siblings. I didn't grow up in the church, but I knew of God, knew about God through my grandmother. But yeah, home life was mostly just the house being full at all times and the whole household being up to 3, 4 in the morning almost every day. And so it was always loud and always busy.
Did growing up in a large family, how did that impact you? Like, what lessons did you learn?
Well, one, I could sleep anywhere, anytime, no matter how loud it is. Or I could fall asleep on a dresser. I could fall asleep on the floor. I could fall asleep in the bed, no matter how loud it is. So that's lesson number one. Number two, I like being around people. I think I get my extrovert energy and personality from growing up in a household that has so many people.
And as a kid, did you go to church? Are you newer to church? What's your connection?
So my grandma was the only, and this is my grandma on my mom's side, she was the only spiritual person in the family in general. But me, for the longest, being her only grandchild, and then my sister came along at some point. But for a long time, she only made me go to church with her. And until I was like 8 years old, at the age of 8, she gave me the option. She was like, all right, you can either stay home or you come to church with me. And 8-year-old me obviously would rather play video games or watch cartoons on TV instead of go to church. From the age of 8 until I was 16, that's when I stopped going to church. And then I started going again when I was 16, turning 17. So that's church life. It kind of developed when I turned 16 because of, once again, my grandmother. So at this point in my life, she was in the hospital. She was really sick. And I only saw her twice in the hospital. And each time, she didn't ask no one else this. And prior to this, we never really talked about church. But she would ask me, Dorian, when are you going back to church? And I was like, what? I feel like it's really random. We don't talk about church or God. And so why are you asking me this? But it did put that little seed in the back of my head. I'm like, okay, maybe I should try church out again. And then I had some friends that went to church at high school. And I asked them about it. They invited me, and I had my first youth group event, snow tubing.
So 17, you head back to church. Tell us about the journey that you had towards call to ministry.
Once I turned 17 and then the summer came, I started doing an internship at the church. And I was mostly doing it for the money. But in that, I was like, okay, I'm liking this thing I got going with God. He's showing up a lot in my life. I've started to realize and see him more and more, even though I feel like he's always been there, hindsight. But in the moment, I was like, okay, I like what's going on here. And then, so because of that, turning 18, I got baptized on my 18th birthday. That was April. And then that summer, I did the internship again. And every year, we used to take a mission trip to Fort Worth, Texas, and we threw a VBS for a church there. And it was at that time, and I remember just standing there and watching one of the other interns like give a kid a piggyback ride.
Yeah.
That was my moment of like, okay, I want to do this for the rest of my life. Be that bridge for kids that may not know God or have never witnessed God, and to help them see who God is. For me, it was like, I want to be able to provide that type of opportunity for kids. Because like growing up, I never had the opportunity. The only person that was spiritual was my grandma. There was no one ever reaching out to kids like me that grew up in neighborhoods like I did. But we was able to reach out to those type of kids and to be there for them. And I want to give that same opportunity. It wasn't until I reached out to people myself is when I built that connection with God. But I want to, step in first and help people reach out before they have to reach out themselves. And so that's where that connection kind of came from, of like, okay, we're providing this opportunity, providing this experience for kids to be like, hey, God is cool. Let's get to know and understand who this Jesus guy is a little bit more. That's a call that I feel like God shipped to me at that moment.
So after that call, what were the next steps in which you went to pursue that calling?
So I was still trying to figure out what college was going to look like. And so I went to Grace College, and I went there for youth ministry. And so I did that for only 4 months, one semester. Came back because it was too expensive. But when I came back, the church provided me an opportunity to be the assistant youth pastor or youth minister for 4 years. And so I did that from December of 2018 to May of 2022. From that point, I was like, okay, I feel like I've done everything I could here as an assistant. There's not much room for me to grow anymore without becoming like the full-on youth pastor. And so he helped me look for another place, and that place ended up being Shepherd Community Center, where that is a church in a school. And so on the church side of things, I was the volunteer youth pastor. And then on the church and the school end of things, I was the health and PE teacher, which I feel like helped me a lot when it comes to interacting with kids. And so at that moment, I was growing, and then God was like, okay, school. He threw school into the picture for me. I was like, because at that moment, I didn't think I needed to go back to school. I thought in my head, my 4 years of assistant youth pastor was enough to work at any church ever. And I learned very quickly that was not the case. And God reminded me, he was like, no, you still need some refining. You still need to learn a little bit more. And so that's when NNU came into the picture. That's when Idaho came into the picture. And now we're here at Mountain View.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about how you got from Shepherd Community to NNU and your connection with your now wife, Bethany.
Yes. So me and Bethany met at Shepherd Community Center. I started at the end of May 2022. She joined at the beginning of August 2022. And it was very shortly after she came that we began dating. But it was kind of through her in a sense, and other people as well, where school came into the picture. I had preached one Sunday at the church, and she came to me and she was like, so when are you going back to get your degree? Because that was really good. I was like, huh? I was like, I'm not. But then it was from that moment on, other people started asking me the same question, like, just at random. Like, so when you going back to school, like, what's next? I was like, I don't know. But it was that question that was putting the seed in the back of my head. I was like, okay, maybe I do need to go back to school. Through Shepherd, I was like, okay, me and the Nazarene Church, I feel like we lined up almost perfectly with each other. And so I really enjoyed being a part of the Nazarene Church. And so I started looking up Nazarene schools. NNU gave me the most money. And it also just lined up perfectly because Bethany, she's from here, from Idaho, not from here, but from Idaho. And she was going back to Idaho anyway. And NNU gave me the most money. I found a job. And then I also found a spot to live in for free, basically, all at the same time. So it's just lined up perfectly.
Yeah, everything lined up. God orchestrating that to get you there. And now, what are you hoping God will do in your life in the next couple years to set you up for the future?
Yeah, I hope to continue branching out into different things because I do feel a calling to being a lead pastor someday. And because of that, I need to kind of learn what every aspect of the church looks like, from being able to dibble and dabble in everything. So if I do get called to become a lead pastor at a church somewhere, I will be able to guide people in better ways, in different ways than now. But also continue working with the kids and youth because I still feel a call to that. That could very well be the next thing I do after this is being a youth minister or a kids minister. But also being able to grow in other areas within the church. The church provides that opportunity.
Thank you for taking the time to chat with us on this edition of Summer Stories. Dorian will be around, so if you have any questions or anything, feel free to ask him.
I'm open book.
But we're excited to have him here with us and do some meaningful work in pastoral ministry here at Mountain View. So thanks, Dorian.
No problem.